with us, and we really do appreciate it. I'm Jemima Monteith-Thomas, so I'm Head of Standards at CDPS, and whether you're a seasoned digital professional or you're just starting your digital transformation journey, these bite-sized sessions aim to give you practical takeaways and inspiration to embed the digital service standard for Wales and create meaningful impact in your organisation and deliver improved user experience. So before I introduce you to our guests today, I'm going to give a really quick overview of the Digital Service Standard for Wales, for those of you who might be less familiar with it. So the standard is a set of principles that define what good public services look like and helps public sector organisations in Wales to design and deliver effective, cost-efficient and user-centred services. So there's lots of alignment with other service standards, such as the UK Gov standard, but there are some key differences that are specific to the context that we're working in and to the needs of people in Wales. So the standard itself is made up of 12 principles grouped into 3 areas: meeting user needs, creating good digital teams, and using the right technology. To see the standard in full, you can go to the CDPS website, and we're going to pop a link in the chat also. And on our website, you'll find a range of tools and resources that will also help you to understand more about the standard and support you on your journey to design good public services. So in today's session, we're really delighted to have Andrea Gale and John Connolly from Pobl Group join us. With a background in the housing and public services sector, Andrea leads the Strategic Technology Data and Change Directorate at Pobl. And with a strong background in operations, transformation and customer experience, John plays a pivotal role in leading strategic improvements across Pobl's repairs and maintenance services. So in the next 20 minutes, they are going to tell us the story of how, from customer to boardroom, they are seeking to adopt user-centred principles and what this means in practice. Please feel free to share your questions, your insights, experiences in the chat throughout the session, and we'll make sure that there's time at the end to cover anything that's been shared. So without further ado, I will pass you on to Andrea and John.
Thank you, and thanks for coming to today's session. So John and I are from the Pobl Group. I think John is just going to share the screens now, and we're going to talk to you about how Pobl are going about embedding user-centred design across the group. So just to tell you a little bit about Pobl. So Pobl is a not-for-profit organisation. It's Wales's largest provider of housing, care and support services, managing approximately 25,000 homes and providing care and support for almost 17,000 individuals, employees reaching 3,000 colleagues, and important to note, from the 1st of January will be known as the CODI group, CODI meaning the Welsh word for rise. You'll see on that slide there, it refers to a merger between Link Cymru and Pobl Group, which happened in 2024. And I refer to that because that's very much shaped the both the ease and the complexities of rolling out user-centred design across the group. So strategically, Pobl have made a commitment to adopt user-centred design in its methodology. So right from the boardroom, we've committed to that, and we've committed publicly. Last week we had our business partners event, and very much committed to achieving the digital service standards for Wales. That's absolutely not to say that we were there. We've got lots of work to do, but at a strategic level, we've made that decision. And that was really easy. In a sense, 2 organisations coming together really gives you that opportunity to reflect and think about what we want to be and achieve for ourselves and the communities across Wales. Link very much had a history of user-centred design, so had, in the digitalisation of its nursing homes, had taken a user-centred design approach. And the board at Link would have very much seen how easy that was, how residents loved it, but also how it facilitated a simple process in terms of digitalisation and achieved some really strong results. So we had that benefit. Also, looking across a large group, I think what we saw was the areas that we could see there's room for improvement in was very much those areas where we tended to work in functions. And as we'll all be aware, user-centered design really focuses on understanding what users want and gearing the whole organisation towards that in a nice, beautiful, end-to-end horizontal flow. In terms of leadership commitment as well, I think having digital and transformation sitting at the exec level has been really helpful, because it means that we don't just say, oh yes, we'll commit to user-centered design and then do something totally different. There's always a voice at the table that's able to hold the organisation to account, and the CEO has very much bought into user-centered design. But a merger does create complexities. So at a strategic level, it's really given us that advantage of us being able to say, yeah, we're absolutely committed to it. But having gone through a merger, if you go to the next slide, please, there's an awful lot of work to do. So alongside making that commitment, we will have 2 lots of systems, at least 2 lots of processes, journeys, ways of working, huge amount of competing priorities, and colleagues in the organisation will be undergoing a massive amount of change. Within the Pobl group, we would also see that there was lots of different ways of doing something. There was no one journey, and so coordinating user-centered design and customer journeys is a huge challenge. Alongside that, we'd committed to user-centered design, but actually, could we deliver it? No, because if everyone wanted us to do it, we didn't have the skills throughout the organisation to deliver it. And so those 2 areas, the strategic commitment alongside the complexity of merger, have very much shaped our approach to rolling out user-centered design. So in terms of our approach, it's really been about, okay, we've got that strategic commitment, but we really want to develop strong foundations and simplified approaches. We'll do this gradually. We'll take a soft landing and we'll make sure that we do it properly. So surfacing why we'd want to do it and what we want to do with the leadership team has been really important over the last 12 months. We've taken our time. We haven't always used the word user-centered design. We've really talked about practical ways and the difference that taking this approach can make. And we've made the most of working with the willing. So that can maybe come across as a little bit patchy here, done it in some places, not done it at others. But it means it's kept our momentum. The other thing that we've done, given that we know that we need to build our skill set, is we've really focused on our organisational gatekeepers to give us momentum, and I'll talk about that a bit in a minute. So in terms of our organisational design, designing and making sure the technology team was designed to deliver user-centered design was really important to it. This, again, there was at a time when we're trying to integrate all our systems from 2 organisations coming together. So one of the things that we did is that we very much had to integrate, then optimise methodology. Again, that meant we weren't always doing perfect, but it meant we moved to one way of working and then we optimised from there. That's really served us well and taken the pressure off of us. In terms of gearing ourselves up with technology, we're opting for some really modern, mature platforms from which we can deliver our skeleton journeys, and we can colour them in as we learn more and more from our users. And these strong platforms are very much supported by specialist spin-off systems. This absolutely means that our integration tools and our integration skills in terms of the technology team are really important, because we know in order to deliver our journeys, we're going to need technology that can move from one system to another. Alongside this, across the business, we've adopted a tech owns the tech principle. I think historically in the organisation, we've seen functional departments asking for their own systems, but that rarely makes for a great user-centred journey. And so really, we've spent a lot of time with the business saying, ask us for the user case, don't ask us for the technology. And our team has been restructured around user cases and a delivery approach. You may have seen that this shows itself in terms of the JDs and our external ads, where we're always seeking to recruit people that have a commitment to UCD and have UCD skills. Alongside that as well, we've absolutely building our data quality in order that we can again deliver on our user cases. In terms of the skills, we've absolutely, there's some people on this call today that have got really strong skills in user research and service design across the organisation, but not enough to do it in every single case. And so what we've done is those people have very much worked with the willing to engage, to make a start, to make a difference, to create that curiosity, and to start to deliver some benefits and momentum from this phrase user-centered design. You'll see from the picture we're absolutely not there. This is the IT department. You can see someone has put up a sign and somebody else has got a little sticky when actually the user have used that sign in a totally different way. But what we are seeing is increasing numbers of discoveries around damp and mold, around why users might not give us access to their property, around decants. We've developed some customer personas, and lots of teams have really asked for some empathy mapping that's gone really down within the organisation. So we're encouraging having a go whilst we're building up our skills and developing a comprehensive rollout plan. So in terms of where we are, I guess it's best described as you'll absolutely see that strategic commitment, but in terms of operationally, that will look patchy. So you'll see some areas of our business that have not considered it at all. You'll see some areas that have really gone for it, and you'll see some areas that have incorporated bits of user-centered design. In terms of the executive, we set up a monthly delivery board, and that really means that those key projects will not be able to get through unless they start to incorporate user-centered design principles and techniques. To kind of speed up the process as well, we've targeted what we call gatekeepers that can really make a difference to the rollout of user-centered design across the organisation. So on the slide there, I've named procurement as one. Procurement for us, we procure lots of our services to customer homes, and hence we're seeking to really ensure that our customer journeys and our contract specification includes what users want, and we're hoping that will make a huge difference moving forward. We've focused on key journeys, so we know one of the most important journeys to our customers is that of ordinary repair and us carrying out a compliance check, and that's what John's going to talk to you a bit about in a minute. We're trying to save time, so where we've done a piece of user-centered work, we're trying to capture that as a service pattern, pull it out so we can reuse it in our contracts and ensure that we're consistent, and help us with the capacity that we need to work through. Probably, I'd say one of the most challenging things that we've faced is around data and success measures. They've started to come through in the last couple of months, but that's been a challenge, partly due to our data quality, but partly due to the way in which we think about user-centered design. John has actually been one of the areas that have produced those success measures through, so it's really nice to see those. We're also working now on the business partners that we work with outside of the Pobl group, of ensuring that they're committed to user-centered design. And the way in which we're approaching that is very much of changing our language and gearing our message towards them, of them having an efficient business, of lowering their cost to serve whilst improving their reputation in terms of customer satisfaction. But if I hand you over now to John, he's going to talk about how he's found user-centered design in terms of the I want to repair customer journey.
Thanks, Andrea. Afternoon, all. So I lead the trades team for Pobl, and what that means is we've got around 170 colleagues delivering 45,000 repairs a year, 1,000 empty homes, and 1,000 kitchen and bathroom upgrades. So they are the face of our organisation and most often interact with our customers. So to say there was a burning platform at the start of this journey, I think is an understatement. We were trying to reattach the team to the wider organisation and to the wider group. We were trying to address some siloed working where there was a lack of accountability for journey points. There's different people responsible for the different ends of the customer journey. So it was about bringing those people together for the common good. There was probably a lack of engagement in the repairs and maintenance teams. And what I mean by that is that I would walk into the depots and no one would say anything, and no one would have a view, no one would have an opinion on what good looks like, what the challenges were, which we had to address. There was probably a lack of leadership as well. I think, I had some really good people with the right intentions who were working within trades, but fundamentally they didn't know how to coach, they didn't know how to develop, and they certainly didn't think customer first or empathise with, putting our customers first in our processes on a day-to-day basis. There was probably a lack of understanding of what our customers wanted. There was probably long-standing perceptions of what customers wanted, but we had to unpick some of those views and those thoughts. And we definitely had the wrong measures of success, so putting way too much emphasis on output and maybe not on some of the behaviours that drive some of those things. So to summarise, we definitely had a fair bit to go after. And the way that we did that is that the first thing we did to create a culture and create an environment where user-centered design can happen is we opened our doors. So we reconnected with the group. There's lots of colleagues on this call, as Andrea referenced, that have been really key to this transformation, really. So whether colleagues in the housing team and customer service, which obviously has a big stake in the wider kind of end-to-end I want to repair journey, finance, tech, assets, all of those colleagues, we opened the doors of the depots and we invited them in to actually start to learn, and we can understand how we can work on this together in essence. We also implemented a repairs and maintenance strategic program. So this was about understanding how we can improve by tapping into our colleagues and also our customers' views of the service that we provided. I think one of the biggest enablers for this, again, focusing on the colleague side of things, is that enabled us to build trust, a huge amount of trust with the team, and a team that had historically not maybe been given the opportunity to speak up and have a voice in changing some of these things. It gave us the opportunity to build trust through really simple things, like just by offering people the opportunity to have a view on something. What we found is there were a load of hygiene factors that, if we address those hygiene factors, that's when the real kind of really good ideas around how we can do things more, better for our customers really start to surface. So by addressing issues with the vans, and a van is an engineer's office, by addressing workwear issues, actually, small kind of tokens of things that we did actually unlocked a huge amount of lots of those ideas, and really innovative ideas at that. So what we effectively did is we moved away from a team saying nothing to literally challenging anything and everything, which is, for me, that's utopia. That's exactly the way that we want to work as a group. But yeah, challenging everything for the right reasons, but always with a solution in mind. So there were plenty of problems that we could have moaned about, but credit where it's due to the team. By creating that environment, they came up with the solutions that we've used to really transform our service. We've had to recruit the right leaders as well. So I think, we've had to make some tough decisions there to make sure that, we have leaders who are focused on developing people and also creating the right environment for us to be customer focused. But I think leadership breeds behavior, and we certainly found that maybe not having the right leaders was probably holding us back. So and I think what we also did is reset our expectations, because we can do all of this great work for our internal teams, but we do have subcontractors who deliver a lot of work for us as well. So we re-engaged our entire subcontractor framework on the premise of customer first. So we asked them to present in each of the presentations through the procurement process, this is how we're going to be customer first moving forward. And we've actively challenged the subcontractors, and in some cases have stopped giving some of those subcontractors work where they're not engaging in our systems, or maybe they're not being as customer first as we would like. So there's some of the steps. I think some of the other things that we've done, and I think this has been really, really helpful actually, is that mapping the aspirational digital journey that we want from an IMA repair perspective and across other areas of our customer journey. We're trying to push towards a hospitality approach, making sure that those user-centered design principles and service patterns are built into the way that that's happened, but also with an eye on group health and efficiency. So, delivering a great customer journey can be done in a really, tech first and digital first way, but actually that then unlocks capacity and capability that we can then use in other ways as a group. So I think this has been a really good, good step to take, and it's actually, created a North Star for us as an organisation now, certainly from a repairs perspective. We've actually got a session on Friday where we're going to be sharing the customer journey with the wider repairs leadership group, with a view to saying this is the aspiration, what are the ways, let's engage with you now on the ways that we can bridge that gap. This has been key as well. So I know that Karen's on the call, who actually facilitated this. Karen's one of our user-centered design practitioners. This was one of many sessions that we've run as a team around bringing lots of different people together from different parts of the business to focus on what are the problems that we need to address from a user-centered design perspective. So she'll probably kill me for mentioning that, but she was phenomenal, and actually having that objective view of how we deliver and how we can do things, she, was facilitated really well. So that was a really key thing that we did as a group as well. And this is kind of a snapshot, a preview or a snippet, if you like, of how we develop that customer journey. So the yellow slides represent the customer journey from a customer's perspective. So in here, this is about, I want to tell you about a maintenance issue. We've started to focus on the important measures of success. So what is the demand by channel? First on resolution is really important, and then at the end of the appointment, what do our users and our customers want at the end of that journey is really important as well. They want customer satisfaction. They don't want complaints. They certainly, hopefully, want to give us compliments. What we've also done is map that customer journey through a colleague lens as well, so we can really understand what's important for us to build that into our colleague proposition, our training, and that mindset really that delivers user-centered design. And as Andrew alluded to, the measures of success are really important, because we were probably focusing on all of the wrong things. Repairs per day will only get you so far in a trades context. What we're more interested in is actually what percentage of the work or what percentage of the repairs that you deliver every day do you actually complete first time. So this is just a snapshot of the types of MI that we've now got available to drive performance. It shows us what the actual completion rates are for our engineers, which means that that's the amount they're delivering fixed first time. But what it also allows us to do is actually drill in on those repairs where they weren't able to deliver that first time, and have those really challenging coaching conversations around what they could have done differently. And this is an example of a build on some of that MI, is that we can actually drill into those individual cases that say, okay, was this a skill set issue? Did you have the right digital van stocks, on your van in order for you to deliver those things? But these things, and this is all kind of linked to our technology, all of this falls out of our total mobile solution, which is sector leading, but we're really trying to extract the value out of that now as a scheduling tool. But all of those things are now available to us, which has made a massive difference. So I think if I was to summarize, I think the big thing that we try to do to kind of bring this to life is to focus on colleagues first, is to really use customer insight to understand what our customers want from the service. But I'd be lying if I said we're there. We've got a long way to go. I think it's still early days in our transformation, but hopefully some of that is piqued interest, and I guess Andrew and I would be happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much, both. Has anyone got any questions for Andrea or John? Feel free to pop your hand up, or you can pop them in the chat. Whilst you're thinking about what questions you might want to ask, I will go for one, which is predictably about the digital service standard for Wales. So what role did the standard play in that kind of transformation, which sounds like it was very much as much a cultural transformation as it was a kind of transformation in terms of processes and ways of working?
Yeah, I'm happy to pick this up. I think it'd be honest to say that we've been back to front, inside out. So we've kind of known what we've wanted to achieve. We've then dipped into the standards. We've dipped back out, and I think what we want to do now is approach it more systematically we've kind of got that strategic buy-in. We've had some success, but actually we need to focus on working our way through the standards and holding ourselves to account.
Thank you. We've got a question in the chat there around, did you find any sort of resistance in implementing the user-centered design?
Yeah, I think yes. I think the word sometimes can put people off, and they think, oh, what is this, and what is it going to mean? I think some of our colleagues that deal with our contractors were worried it would put them off tendering or wanting to work with us. So we've placed quite a focus on, when I say simplified approaches, just humanising the language. So sometimes when we talk about it to colleagues or when we talk about it to contractors, we won't mention the word. We'll talk about making it easier for people. You know, if it's easy for a colleague to deliver, it's normally beautiful for a customer to receive. So we start to use different types of language. I don't think where people get into it and understand what we're doing, I've not seen any resistance. I don't know what your feeling is, John.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think I'm probably biased because I joined a couple of years ago, and I think the first time we met was this is an absolute no-brainer. So certainly from a repairs and maintenance perspective, this just made a lot of sense. Yeah, I don't think there's resistance. So there's probably curiosity, and I think there's probably an opportunity for us to roll this out more across the wider group to give people more of these skills and this knowledge to to support with the ongoing rollout. But I've not seen anything, hand on heart.
That's so great to hear, and I love that idea of kind of humanizing the language, because I think it can be off-putting if you go straight in with those kind of more technical terms. Let's do one more question. So we've got, what advice would you give organisations who are less mature on this journey? Where should they start?
For me, I'd say start wherever it feels comfortable and be pragmatic. I think if you followed our journey, it's not linear, it's a little bit messy. But actually there's lots of opportunities to do a little bit and dive in. So I think I'd say start with a little bit of user research, start with a skeleton journey and colour it in, but don't be too hard on yourself.
Yeah, I agree. I think definitely the customer journey, I completely agree with what you just said, but I think that customer journey, that North Star is helpful. It doesn't have to be fully formed. It doesn't have to be, as you say, kind of, the insight hasn't fully told us the story and what we're trying to achieve yet. But I think having that as a North Star is the excitement. That's how you engage people. That's how you bring people with you and get them to, understand their part in that. So yeah, I think that's probably the place that I would start.
Thank you. Yeah, Diolch, thank you so much, Andrea and John, for sharing that experience with us and talking us through your journey. If anyone else has got any other questions, then either pop them in the chat now, or we'll pop in the link to our standards mailbox as well, and we can pick those up later and share those with Andrea and John. Before you go, if we could just ask you to fill in this survey. I think you did get a survey sent out in the pre-event joining instructions, which had the wrong link, so we apologise for that, but this should be the right link. So if you could fill this in, that would be hugely helpful, using the QR code, or you can go to menti.com. Give you a second just to get that. If we could pop that Menti link in the chat as well, that'd be great. And then finally, there are two more events in this series that we hope you'll be able to join us for. So next Monday, 1st of December, we'll hear how ADNOD, with support from CDPS, has been meeting the second principle of the service standard, which is design services in Welsh and English by using trio writing. And on the 8th of December, we'll be joined by Emlyn from Cardiff Council, who's going to share with us how using data to make decisions, which is point 12 of the standard, has enabled Cardiff to build a compelling business case for change and design a practical roadmap for process automation. So if you haven't already signed up, please visit the courses and events pages on our website and save your virtual seat. And we look forward to seeing you there. We'll put all of the details in the chat. But diolch again, everyone, for coming, and to Andrea and John for fantastic presentation. Thanks all.
Thanks all.
Bye.
Thank you.